All right, everybody. In this video, we are going to be talking about parts of speech. Specifically, we are going to talk about nouns. So what is a noun? By the way, this comes from Grammarly. And you can see the website here. If you're watching the video, it will be in the description box below. But what is a noun? Going back to our topic, what is a noun? Well, a noun is a word that is used as a name of a place, a person, or a thing. Okay, so it is a person, a place, a thing. For example, California is a place, right? So examples.
Yeah, it's a proper noun.
Yes.
Because it's a name of a noun.
Exactly. So California.
The noun is like a book, it's like pencil, it's like car, it's like house, bank. This is like US Bank. US Bank is a proper noun, but the bank, it's a common noun.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. But for now, let's just give examples of a person, a place, or a thing. So California, for example, is a place.
Yes.
Right? The moon.
The moon
is a place.
The weather is so beautiful right now.
Or just say moon. Okay, whatever.
Teacher,
Yes?
I can see your screen. I think it's my oh, I got it.
Okay. Cool. So John is John's a place. John's a person. Boy is a person. Okay. And book is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, why is this not working? Okay. So as the awesome Noun was saying a minute ago, there are different types of noun, and nouns, they are the largest portion of the English vocabulary. So you have so many words in English, but the biggest percentage is for nouns, okay? And so nouns can name a person, for example, Albert Einstein, the president, my mother, a girl. They can also name a place, which was what we were talking about a minute ago. Mount Vesuvius, Disneyland, my bedroom. These are all places. And noun can be things. For example, shoe, faucet, freedom, the elder wand, and baseball. So there are two main, and I went through that quickly because we had just talked about that in the examples above as well. So there are two main types of noun. These are the proper noun and the common nouns. Now, one important distinction or difference is that a proper noun is, sorry, I was trying to read the sentence and it's not there. Okay, so one important distinction is that a proper noun is a name of a place, a person, or a thing that is unique. For example, California is a proper noun because there aren't many Californias, it's just that one. Okay, so it's a very specific name of a place, a person, or a thing, and no matter where it is in the sentence, it is always, always, always capitalized. Okay, so for example, I can say California. We know that we need to capitalize the first letter of the sentence, correct?
Yes.
But in this case, let's say California is beautiful. Okay, so California is beautiful. All right, well, it's at the beginning of the sentence, but that's not why we capitalize it. We capitalize it because exactly, it's a proper noun. So California is beautiful. You can see that it's capital at the beginning of the sentence. But if we say, I love California, Well, California is no longer at the beginning of the sentence, so it is also capitalized. Cool.
Cool.
I think most of you guys know this. If you don't, or if you do, maybe this is just review. But we are going forth with continuing with learning about nouns. Okay. So the example they gave us: does Tina have much homework to do this weekend? You see that Tina, even though it's in the middle of the sentence, it is capitalized. Okay.
So it's a proper noun, Tina.
Yes, so Tina is a proper noun. That's also another way of, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with a particular noun or a name, and you see that it's capital, you can probably, in the middle of the sentence, you can probably assume it's a proper noun. Okay, so we see here that California is a specific place, so it's unique. Well, what about Tina? Well, there are a lot of Tinas in the world, but that Tina is unique, right? There's a lot of people with my name, but there's only one of me. So we capitalize the R, right, in my name, or the T in Tina's name. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So for example, I would like to visit Old Faithful. Now, Old Faithful, for those of you who don't know, is okay. Old Faithful itself, like if we put these two words together, it just means, you know, like someone who is old, which is an adjective, and faithful, which is another adjective, right?
Uh-huh.
But in this case, it's actually talking about a place in Yellowstone. Okay, it's this geyser that pours out water, and it happens every 2 hours, and it's very repetitive. Okay, so in this case, you can see that even though they're normally adjectives, when they're here in this sentence, it's written with a capital for both of them. Then you can say, oh, well, that's probably, even though you don't know it, you can say that's probably a proper noun. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so like we said, Old Faithful is a specific name of a geological phenomenon. Okay, and proper nouns are not as common as common nouns. Common nouns are called common nouns because there's a lot of them, and common means very familiar, or there's a lot of it. Okay, so common nouns are the ones that are not specific. They can be talking about anything, and they are not capitalized. They are only capitalized at the beginning of the sentence. Okay?
Yes.
So for example, the girl crossed the river. Well, here, girl is the noun.
Common.
And it's a common noun.
Common
It's
noun.
a common noun.
Okay, so it's a common noun because it's general. We don't know which girl. We know which girl here because it's saying the girl. But if you are talking to someone and you're aware that this is the right girl, you can say the girl and you'd know who it is. But in general, girl is a very common thing. 50% of the population is girls. So it's a common noun, and we see that it's not capitalized. The only way it's capitalized is if it's at the beginning. So we can say girls are crossing the river on their horses. Or let me see this. Girls cross the river on their horses. Okay.
Girls are crossing, or doesn't make sense? Or girls cross, or doesn't? Okay.
It doesn't matter. This sentence made more sense to me if it got more complicated.
Yeah, because
That's why I changed it.
plural, you have to put cross. You can't add es because there's a plural for girls.
Yes, otherwise
cross-
we have to put otherwise we have to put an
A
article.
girl crosses the river or girls
Yes.
cross the river. Okay.
But if I put a girl crosses the river,
Doesn't
then
make sense.
A would be capitalized and G would not. And I wanted to show that G is capitalized in this case. And the only reason it's capitalized, you're right, but the only reason it's capitalized, it's because it's at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, like here, girl is a common noun. Okay, it's telling us, and it's the first thing that it's saying. Girl is a common noun. We do not learn the identity of the girl by reading the sentence, though we know the action she takes. River is also a common noun
Come on, Mom. Yeah.
in the sentence, right? Even though it's not capital, we don't capitalize it,
Yeah.
and it's capitalized here, it's also a common noun.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We're not going to talk about these because these are a little bit more advanced. Okay. So what part do they play in the sentence? Well, nouns are usually the subject. So every sentence must have a subject, and that subject will always be a noun. Okay.
Yes.
So John ate the pizza. All
Yes.
right. We can't say ate the pizza. That doesn't work. Okay. So the subject in the sentence has to be a person, a place, or a thing that is doing the action or being the verb in that sentence. For example, Maria is happy. Maria is our noun. Maria is the subject of that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Nouns can also be objects. So the thing that the verb is doing something or the subject is doing something to. Okay. So nouns can also be objects of a verb in a sentence, and an object can either be a direct object. Okay, so a noun that receives the action performed by the subject. So for example, John ate the pizza. Well, the pizza is receiving the action. Okay. Or it can be an indirect object, a noun that the recipient of a direct object. So give the book to her. Her in this case would be give the books to her.
Is a
Okay.
pronoun.
So yes, so nouns can be replaced by a pronoun. All right. So the books in this case is another one of our nouns. Okay. And her is a pronoun, but it's also taking the place of a noun. All right. Okay. And these are a bit more complex concepts that we're not going to talk about today. Then we have plural nouns, and plural nouns, they are, you add S to, okay? So if you have one noun, there's no S. And if you have two or more, then you add S or ES to the singular form of the verb. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for example, cat becomes cats. Now here's what we have to pay attention to that a lot of people mistake for something else. S in this case is not the same thing as simple present. Okay, so in simple present, we add S at the end of the verb if it's in third person singular.
Yes.
Here we add S if it's plural. And if the noun is plural, then the verb doesn't have an S. Okay, so I can't say cats. I can say cat. Okay, the cat eats the food. Okay, so here the cat is third person singular, so we add an S in simple present. However, if I have the cats eat the food, if it's plural, then it's not third person singular, it's third person plural, then there is no S in simple present. Okay, so this S over here and this one are different, and they're usually not together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay.
No.
So within common nouns, there are two categories. These categories are countable nouns, or also known as count nouns, and there are non-count nouns or uncountable nouns. And I do have to pause here and tell you, for the most of you who are watching live this session, this is a review, okay? So this is just, if you're familiar with this, is because these early weeks are meant as a review for you and not for you to learn something new. If you're watching this video online, then you can just continue and ignore my statement. All right. So we know the word count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So count nouns are the nouns that we can actually count. So countable nouns are nouns which can be counted, even if the number might be extraordinarily high. So for example, I can say 1,000 books. And if I start counting, then I will start at 1 and end at 1,000, even though it's a very big number. So I can count the amount of books, or notebooks in this case, that I have. So I can add an S to it, okay? So countable nouns can be used with the article a or an, okay? So going back for backtracking for a second, bottles, for example, are count nouns because I can count how many bottles there are, okay? So count nouns are nouns that can take an S at the end of them, okay? For example, book is books, bottle is bottles, chapter, chapters, teacher, teachers, student, students, okay? For these nouns that can be counted, we can use them with the articles a or an, okay? So for example, I can say a book. Let me do this here. I can say a book, a bottle, a chapter,
A teacher.
a teacher, a student. Of course, these are not capitalized anymore, right? It's just capitalized because we're using this Microsoft, okay? So we can actually use that with these nouns. If we are counting, we are talking about just one, because a or an means
And is for the vowels.
one. Yes.
It's
So
for
and
the A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I,
I, O, U.
O.
If the words like started with these letters, then you use an.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you. So for example, and sometimes Y, but Y is not always considered a vowel. Okay. So we use a or an when it's just one. So only one book. A book means one book. A bottle means one bottle. A chapter means one chapter. Okay. After that, we don't use a. If we want to use the article, we use the books, the bottle. Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. The bottles, the chapters, the teachers,
The student.
the students, okay? And when they start with a vowel, we use an and not a. For example, I have an umbrella, okay?
An apple.
An apple.
An orange.
Exactly. An apple, an orange,
An egg.
Yeah, an egg. Okay. You is a weird one. You, we only use it when it sounds like ooh. Okay. For example, if it's university, we say it's a university.
Yeah, I don't,
Okay.
why those?
Because it has to sound like ooh. You doesn't sound like a vowel. So the U sound
it's like
has to be
umbrella, but A is Y, like the what is it? The U, it sounds like Y. So you have to start with the A. You can't have start with an N,
So no, hold on.
right?
An umbrella, because
It's
you
a.
here sounds like a.
Exactly.
Okay, and a sounds like a vowel. University
It sounds
doesn't sound like a vowel. It sounds like a y.
yeah,
Okay.
like Y.
Yes, but Y sometimes is a vowel when it's an E, right? With a Y sound. Okay, so we have to be careful with you. All right, so that is count nouns. Non-count nouns are the verbs that are the nouns that we cannot count. For example, I can't count water. I can count bottles of water. These come in units, but water itself that's inside, I can't break it apart. I can't divide it. Okay, I can't put it in my hand. So it is a non-count noun. Education, for example, your education, you can count the classes that you took, but education is not something you can divide. It's something that is a whole, it's a concept. Okay.
Concept.
So for example,
Milk.
Sorry?
Milk.
Milk?
Yeah, would you
Yes,
like
common.
some milk?
Milk is a common noun.
Well, all of them are
Yeah.
common nouns. Both count nouns and non-count nouns are all common nouns.
Yeah.
Okay?
But we cannot count the milk.
No.
Only we say a bottle.
Exactly. So we can't say
Okay.
milk. So here's the thing. Uncountable nouns are nouns that come in a state or quantity which is impossible to count. Liquids, for example, water and milk are liquids, so they're not countable. Are things like, or things that act like liquids, like sand or air, okay? So we can't hold them, we can't count air, we can't say airs, we can say air particles, but we can't say airs, okay?
Can you say an air?
No,
Why?
because it's a non-count noun. And if I can't count from 1 to 100, if I can't start at 1, then I can't get to 100. And A means 1, right? A just means 1. We can't count, and we can't say an heirs or the heirs because we can't count it.
Like, okay, but airplanes you can't say I am in an airplane.
Yes.
Airplane.
Because airplane is counted. There's many airplanes.
Well, yeah, airplanes are things, they're solid.
Yeah.
The air, no.
Okay, but
Rice, you can't. Rice too is uncountable now because you can't count how many rice.
yes.
It's a common.
So it's kind of like
common-
sand.
Common noun.
Okay, it's kind of like sand. Rice and sand are almost the same concept. Okay, so you might be able to hold sand, but it kind of goes through your hand, right? So it's a non-count noun. Okay, they are always considered to be singular and can be used with some, any, a little, and much, but we cannot use it with a or an. Okay. For example, an IQ test measures intelligence. Intelligence is a non-count noun or an uncountable noun because we cannot measure it. Okay, the IQ test itself, we cannot count it. The IQ test itself is a tool to see how good you do, how smart you are, but intelligence as a whole cannot be counted. Okay?
Got it.
Students don't seem to have much homework these days. Homework is a non-count noun. Okay? Because again, homework is just a general term for everything that you have to do from class. Okay?
I
You
have
can
a
count
question.
assignments, homework assignments, but you cannot count homework. Just like you cannot count water, but you can count bottles of water. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, with uncountable noun, can I use the
Yes.
article the?
Yes. The air is heavy today. Okay.
Oh,
The
okay.
water is cold.
Okay.
But we can't use a or an because it means one.
Okay.
The doesn't mean one. So we
Okay.
can use it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's pass these. Okay. So that is our lecture for this video, and we'll continue on in other videos as well.